Welcome back to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, and I'm going to do just a message for anyone that lands on it. I also wanted to just share that on this channel, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take a lot more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play out as karmic themes to help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is, why you're attracting a person that triggers you. What do those triggers mean? What can you do to shape shift the energy if there's so many different realities that play out at one time? Why do you keep living experiences that aren't really fulfilling? So it's more than just what your person's going to do, what they did do, though we do look at those elements. It's really a channel that to help you heal the effects of trauma. Now, if you are connected to a Virgo or a Scorpio or a Gemini, I do have those other channels as well. That's why I wanted to make this channel more of a collective. Okay? Collective. Anything of any importance or relevance to the channel, you can find in the description box, including my website link and social goats. If you're someone that's interested in coaching and really can't afford big coaching packages, well, I have a subscription for $25 a month. It does life coaching as well as shadow coaching, but done with oracle cards, and it's very interactive. It's within the group. You get discounts on my classes, product services, and a lot of other things. And you don't just get my content. You have an opportunity to see and find thousands of other different content creators and have an opportunity to make money. So if this sounds like something that interests you, you like to learn and make money, well, definitely fill out the link in my description box. And when the next meeting comes out, you'll get notified. We launch May 1st. So it's something that I'm really excited about. I just wanted to let you guys know. All right, now let's see what the word of the video is. What that word is, and the word of the video is overstimulated. I feel like you're connected to someone that is really overstimulated, and understand overstimulation is created from so much thought and so much emotion. It creates that freeze, that fight, flight, freeze. Well, I feel like someone does not know how to deal with the situation between you and them. And I also feel like they're not in a good place within their life. So they're kind of not doing anything, kind of stuck in fear. You've heard of stuck and stupid when a person's so like frozen, they don't know how to react, so they're just not doing anything. So you're not going to see that much, but let's go a little bit deeper to see again, because this person is actually disgusted with themselves, but they know that you're disgusted with them. That's why they're overstimulated. I feel like everybody's actually disgusted with this person, including themselves. And it's because they wind up sabotaging the connection with you. So of course you're like, I'm disgusted with you. You could had an opportunity to be there. You had an opportunity to be a lot nicer to me. And also like they knew who you were. They just didn't want to give you the time. They didn't want to give you the time. They didn't want to give you the patience or any of it. And I feel like people are disgusted with them because but someone that comes across as very self-righteous. We're going to see specifics of what they did, which is abuse. Like you had enough of their abuse. I feel like their abusive treatment was a lot of intermittent manipulation, coming in and out of your life, telling you one thing, doing something else, gaslighting. So it can just overall abuse, which is why you're disgusted with this person. It's and you felt like they always made sure that you felt out of place. And the problem is that I think that this person is someone that normally feels out of place, but they manipulated you and they weren't expecting you to call their bluff, but you did because you got tired. You got tired of they're like they need a lot of healing. There's someone that has a lot of inner child wounds. There's someone that like they're so afraid of you judging them, that they're someone that judges you all the time. They take risks. They pay too much attention on the physical and not enough on the emotional, that you actually feel like they don't really offer anything. And you got tired of the illusions of that it was a relationship, that it was a give and take relationship, that this person felt the same way that you did. You felt like it wasn't. You felt like this person betrayed you, and that they like to get into karmic contracts. And the reason why is because they haven't healed. So they project a lot of their pain and their wounds from past relationships onto you. So it kept you in a place of anger, like all the time. You just felt like you were angry and stressed, and this person is disassociated because they drink. They're in an avoidant place, so they don't feel anything. So here it is. It's like you're in a relationship with this person and they're abusing you. And instead of listening to you, they're, detaching and disassociating. And so they just wanted to stay in, they just really wanted to stay in their lower energy. And I say that because, again, the sex and the alcohol and the projections and the contracts will always bring you betrayal, and it's always because of inner child wounds. Always because of the inner child wounds, that you're not really in a relationship with this person, because it's just nothing but illusions, because really down deep inside that there's nothing there. So in order for there to be something there, this person takes a lot of risks, and those risks are talking to other people, drinking and partying too much, and just not really investing their time into you in any way, just expecting you to be there when they wanted you to be there. And all it did was really stress you out, because you're like, am I in a relationship with a narcissist? Because at the end of the day, this person's empty inside, and being that they're empty inside, they don't know what they want. So it's not like they wouldn't go and be with you for a certain amount of time, but they would get bored, because no person is going to fulfill them the way that we have to be able to fulfill ourselves. So the only thing that they can do is come in and out of your life and utilize you for what they want to utilize you for. And they will associate that with caring about you, as loving you, because you hold like some position in their life, but it's very fragmented, and they don't really want to listen. They want to be in control. But like again, they wouldn't want you to give up on them down deep inside, but they're toxic. And that's really what it is. This person is like, they want to hold on to you, but they don't want to treat you the right way. And so there's so much thinking, and they have such deep emotions for you, that it's overstimulating. So they're not really doing anything, like we said. And the reason why is because their default mechanism is to check out. And because they drink, they do drugs, they do whatever they need to do to detach. They might even run around with other people. We see a lot of addictive behaviors because there's inner child wounds that haven't been healed. So, of course, anything that you do that you, is going to trigger this person. It's going to be in a relationship with constant triggers. And I feel like keeping them in a place where they're stuck, then because they can't figure out what to do, they're overstimulated, and they're basing their relationship with you on all their previous relationships. And the one thing that they know is that no person is going to change, that they don't get fulfilled from relationships for very long. And for what it is that you're asking for, this person has a lot of anxiety, because they know that chances are they're not going to be able to like have a fulfilling relationship with you for long, and you're also not going to be here for a good time, not a long time, that you're not doing that. And so in that aspect, like I said, they would like you would like to be here for a long time, not a good time, is what I'm trying to say. Like that they have to take you as important. And the thing is that this person doesn't know who they are. So what they know is that they're the main equation in all their relationships and that they get bored and that, they're stuck because they do have feelings for you, even though they betrayed you. And they betrayed you with lies and illusions, saying that they were ready for a relationship, saying that they had feelings. It's not that they don't have feelings. It's the fact that you don't know who you're dealing with. So they're not really showing you who they are. They're showing you illusions and they're manipulating you. And so what you see here is a lack of intimacy, which is going to create major trust issues because intimacy at its basic foundation is trust. So they're lying, they're creating illusions, acting like they don't really care, taking risks, pretending that they're someone that they're not. And all it was really doing was creating a lot of stress in your life. I feel like, again, this person has distorted perceptions. So, this is when a person has gone through trauma and now they are altering their behaviorisms to make you perceive, again, wearing that mask, that they're confident, that they're this bad boy, bad girl, that they have this image when really this person feels empty. There's nothing inside. So the only type of connection that they can have is a karmic contract. And that means a very codependent one where emotionally they don't show up all the time. They show up when they feel like it, creating a lot of trauma from the intermittent manipulation of them coming in and out of life, taking risks, trying to create illusions because there is no identity. So it's not like you didn't feel it. It just kept you in a place of your unresolved trauma, really, and bringing up a lot of resentment. So you could see how it was creating a really negative karmic cord. When meanwhile, the person did have feelings for you. It's that manipulation. So let's see what they're going to do if they're going to do anything. Because right now we see that they are in their addictions. And this isn't so that you get back together with them, but there is a element that we always want to know what that person like feels or thinks or down deep inside. And so right now it's like they need to actually heal. It's like because what this says is they need to pull the weeds of resentment so the love can bloom, and that means that they're holding on to a lot of resentment. And what we see here is they create a lot of resentment. Hurt people. So you see how this person's trauma activated your trauma by all the manipulation and gaslighting and creating illusions and because they don't really know what they want due to their past relationships. So again, that's what really needs to heal. um we don't see them doing anything. What we see is them staying angry and resentment, and we can ask them, well, why don't they heal? Like what's their reasoning? And obviously because it's comfortable for them to stay at a lower vibration. But there's usually again because again because once you actually assess and look at this there's going to be awarenesses that you don't like, to be honest with you. That's really what which this person knows. Like you're going to get knowledge like and of the fact that yeah, this person like has feelings for you, and like they are in a place where, they want to resolve the issue with you, okay? They want to resolve it because there is an intense connection, but they broke it to the point where they're in a place of hardship right now, and not just because of like what they did to you, but where their life is. So I feel like there's a lot to heal. Um, Almost like going down the rabbit hole, and that's what I felt. So like They have to go, they have to do a lot of healing. So if anything, right now, I feel like there's love, but they see that they broke the connection. They don't really know how to recover from it. They know that you know, because again, you're not talking to them. And the more that you see things, the more, like I said, you're going down the rabbit hole. And so I don't really feel like they're going to do anything right now because they're in a place of healing. So you have to say, why did you attract this person into your life? You're a mirror of whom what comes into your life. When we see this type of energy, like a person that comes into your life, has feelings for you, but they, weren't 100% honest from the get-go, and we see why, because there's no identity. They have really nothing to offer to bring to the table. They have nothing to really offer. So they know that they brought it to a place where, unless they were coming in and really working hard to win you over, that you're not going to take them back, because you're going to really look at the fine print per se. You're going to really like evaluate because of what they've already done. And so they don't really feel like they have enough to give. And they just feel like the more that you look, the more toxicity you're going to see of their behaviors, of how they acted, where this person like focused way too much on the physical. And I feel like they have commitment issues and they weren't honest. So it's, and that was mainly because, hey, they might, for all we know, have a sex addiction because that's what they focus on. They are emotionally not intelligent. They're not capable. Really, when and it's come to a place within your evolution that it's time to clear the karmic programs of intolerance. That this person is overstimulated because they know that they pushed this to a place that it's not repairable because of the way that they played it. And that's not even the problem. It's that the problem is that they're too afraid to even come back and be transparent because they're afraid of the rejection. Because once you really saw who they were, you'd say, I don't really want this. Like you created all that drama and all that gaslighting and manipulation because if you really saw who they were, you know, you'd feel like you went deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole. So I feel like this person has a bad way of sleeping around with multiple people at a time, pretending that they have a better job than they actually do. Like like you would just continually find out things about this person and their very poor character, low vibration. And what they know is, I can't really return from that. You're not going to do it. You're not, they need to, and the reason why they have all this negative energy is not because of you, because they're resentful. So even though they had feelings for you, they would continue to project that, where now it's awakening your wounds, is awakening your past traumas, keeping you in a place of being resentful. Where really the whole point of the connection is to create awareness. It's because you're a mirror of whom what comes into your life. There's a whole spiritual purpose for the connection. And so we look at the inner child wounds and we say, first card out is lies and secrecies. So growing up in an environment where there might have been an alcoholic parent or an abused parent. I feel like for some, like it was actually watching like one parent be very abusive to another parent and no one talked about it. It was like the big secret, the lie, hiding. But everybody then wasn't free to be themselves. Some felt the need to protect, some felt the need to like run away, whatever it was, they weren't, you weren't creating yourself. The people in your home weren't creating their best self. They were too worried about that, the lies and protecting the lie, the big secret. So what happened was you were then neglected. And that could be again, whatever imbalance there is, if there's an alcoholic parent, if there's sickness, if there's whatever it is that's going to make you feel as a child as if you're not like everybody else because kids want to be like everybody else. So if parents, like there's one parent and everybody else has two parents, or if all your friends had money, like where they were able to go out and do whatever they want, but your family didn't have money, whatever that perception was really what the lie, the secret, the wanting to be someone else, but also like being neglected. Because when there's a lack in the family and when there's lies in the family and secrets in the family, because there's imbalanced behaviorism, sabotaging behaviorisms, who pays for it? The children do. Because the parents are too busy focused on their trauma that they're not, you know, giving that love and that support to the children. And it created a lot of anger. And what we see here is a resentment again. Why? Because life becomes difficult. When the child has to be the parent, it's embarrassing, first of all. Second of all, it doesn't work out because children then are coming from a place of fear and feeling inadequate, and it's not a child's place. But if the parents are so caught up in their own trauma and the lie and hiding behind whatever their behaviorisms are to deal with life, well, it makes the children have to go and defend for themselves, which over time makes the child feel like they're not lovable, they're not supported, that they're not emotionally getting what they need. If anything, they're stressed out. And so again, no anchor. What we see here is a father and a child, right? So again, the support is that, the anchor is that when you have support, there wasn't support. So as a child, you weren't grounded. You were up in your head, nervous, had anxiety all the time, worried because that no one was going to be there, hiding and saying like, oh, well, it's because they're working or that they're doing something noble, when meanwhile they weren't doing anything noble. They were drinking, they were at a bar, they were screaming at each other. They were caught up in the drama of their own life. So again, it fell back onto the child, where it makes the child's life difficult. There's judgment then on the child as well, because the parents aren't showing up, aren't doing their job. Um, and like I said, children aren't made to be adults, have to figure things out. But when they do, usually they can't, or if they are, they're figuring it out the best way that they know how. And like I said, life becomes a lot more difficult because there's no support in the fact that there's no anchor, there's no ground. The child's up in their head, what is creating a lot of thought, a lot of emotion, a lot of overstimulation, exactly where this person is due to like being neglected. So so of course you had to be rebellious in order to get what you needed. And we pulled that twice. Now you're seen as like rebellious when really not being rebellious, just not putting up with it, and you could be seen as being rebellious or bad, being called bad, which is why you didn't have support, like, which was why you're punished and being neglected, when meanwhile your parents aren't doing what they need to do. You're trying to take care of what you need to do, and that includes take care of your emotional well-being, and you're being seen as rebellious. You're being seen as, because you're creating attention and instead of protecting the lies. And that affected your second chakra, which we associate that chakra with our emotions, the water element. So you weren't able to go with the flow of life. You weren't able to find your own unique identity, which happens from going out and discovering who you are by interacting with different people and joining things. No, there was no support. So you didn't have that. You couldn't join different things and be around different people. And also growing up the way that you did, being neglected and with angry parents, then it made like trusting very difficult as well. Seeing the world through the lens that everyone's that angry, that everyone's going to be mean, that no one really cares. So which life again becomes very difficult. Then we're worried too much about our survival and not really creating ourselves, becoming ourselves. And that's what happened. You weren't able to create yourself and become yourself. So it affected that second chakra. And that's the birthing center. That's the manifestation center. That's the relationship center. That's the trusting center, where trust doesn't come from trusting people in your environment. It comes from having good discernment and trusting yourself. And you can do that when you go with the flow of life. And that happens when you're fully balanced within that second chakra, because you're creating yourself. And so you're not giving too much to anyone. You are filling your cup up all the way. So it's okay if you're by yourself, that you don't need a relationship. You may want a relationship, but you don't need a relationship. So understand, when this was affected and there was no love because you were neglected, no, relationships are difficult because there's no anchor. You're not really grounded. You're coming from a place of fear, because that's what rage it does. So this person activated those feelings and those emotions inside of you to make you actually heal. Really, that being uncomfortable pushes us to do different things. We have a choice: either deal with the toxicity, or again leave the person. And what we saw is that you didn't put up with it, is because again you wanted to integrate all, it helped you integrate all facets within yourself. It's again, that's to find balance, because this person did trigger you. They did bring you back to a time that you had felt, and it brought you to be able to find infinite possibilities, like boundless opportunities arise when you release fear and understand rage is fear. It's just a different, like, it's just channeled out differently, because over time it doesn't feel good to feel fearful. It's actually easier to be angry. You feel stronger for whatever reason, but it's unhealthy. So once you release that fear of, again, not being supported, not being loved, not being, it's again, what happens is that you walk into opportunities, because we're healing, you healed the fragmented parts of yourself, because you gave yourself love. This person wasn't able to give you love. It didn't mean that they didn't love you. They loved you from their level of consciousness, which is not a healthy love. So from not giving energy to this person that represented passion at one time to you, what happened is that you channeled it into another purpose to integrate. And when you do that, you heal and you get boundless energy, because our psychological and emotional blocks hold stagnant energy in the body, because your body's your mind's faithful servant. So when you actually create new experiences that change your perception, that help you to integrate the spiritual blocks, it actually allows that chi, that prana, which is God, it's spirit, to be able to flow through you, to work through you, to be able to manifest, is what spirit says. And that's when you're able to really like listen to your own soul to be guided. And this is how you live your bliss. It doesn't mean that life is all of a sudden easy. What it means is that you learn how to go with the flow of life. It's like you can see beyond the illusion. And the illusion is that, that there's something wrong, that with you, that you can't have, that somebody else, how they react is all about them. They woke your wounds. But what they actually did was gave you the deep wisdom for you to again transmute that energy, which is huge. It allows you to walk into like brighter horizons, because you alchemize the energy. So yes, you're walking into the unknown, but it really doesn't matter, because you're strong within yourself, got that fierce strength. And that's really what it's all about at the end of the day, that you like aligned your heart with your actions, and you ascended life through this experience. That was the whole point. But it didn't mean that you didn't have to take bold action. You did. But the whole point was to help you to really release those limiting beliefs that you formed from your childhood that kept you in a place of limitation so that you could move into, again, that limited potential. And that wouldn't have happened unless you alchemized the energy. And so Spirit says this connection was to help you to alchemize the toxicity of your own core beliefs of how you perceived yourself and what you perceived that you could have due to that childhood that you had, is what Spirit says. So that you could, again, walk into limited opportunities and actually come from your true self, like become who you are today, not continue to create from the wounds of your past, is why you had to go through this experience. And really, when you heal yourself, what it does is, again, it gives you a lot of energy, because those spiritual blocks that are stagnant within our energy create stress and makes it very difficult for the blood and the oxygen to get to your cells and to your organs. So what happens is when you clear those psychological blocks, it clears the body, and what happens is you get more energy, vitality. And really, Spirit says you're a being of light. Accept the divine energy in your body, and every one of your cells regenerates. So you are the energy of love. God is the energy of love. The universe is the energy of love. You are the energy of love. When you walk from that level of consciousness, you have a lot of energy. Why? It makes you feel good. That's the energy of the universe. You're open to receiving. You just kind of seem to be living your bliss. You're going with the flow of life. You had a second chakra imbalance due to the way that you were brought up. So you weren't coming from your true self. This person created that awareness, not because they wanted to. They have imbalances of their own. I don't believe that they were intentional the whole time. However, sick people hurt people. When I say sick, I'm talking about spiritually sick, psychologically imbalanced people. They hurt people. And it's due to, again, them never learning to integrate the spiritual lesson. So always coming from that level of consciousness. And then when they're not, they're projecting. And then what happens is you're also triggering them when you are coming from your true self. So the connection was never really meant to work out. It was meant for you to create the awareness. I'm going to leave that there. You let me know how you resonated. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.